Hey everyone, welcome back. David in History for the Ages here. So this is a question I get quite often. How do you make history exciting for younger children? Most of the material I have, my lectures are for, 12, 13-year-olds, older than that, even college kids. Obviously, I'm a history professor, so they use my material all the time. But how do you make it interesting for the younger ones? And, I have a 6-year-old myself and a 2-year-old, and so there's ways you can make it fun. And please add in the comments some of your ideas. If you've done things that you thought, oh, that worked or that was fun, maybe even a specific place or location, you can add. That'd be great. I think my viewers would love to hear some input from everybody else as well. So let's kind of go right through it. Number one, for me, I think is family history. That's a great way to get the younger ones engaged in history. And this could be done in many ways. You could just, whip out the family photo album and they could see pictures of how people used to dress, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Look at people from the 80s and their hair and they go, wow, people had hair like that in their 80s. Whatever it is. You can have conversations with grandparents. That's another great way to do it. Just let grandparents talk to them about what it was like. They used a typewriter. What's a typewriter? Something of that nature even could be fun. For me, I have this picture here. Obviously, depending on family history, some people's family history is a bit rougher. And so you have to kind of think about age appropriate, right? You may not want, grandparents telling your 5-year-old about some horrific things they went through. For my parents, they were Jewish refugees who had to live in these tents for a while because they were Jews who were forced out of Iraq, their homeland. So that might be a little bit intense for some younger ones, but still something you can kind of keep in mind if you have like 8, 9, 10-year-olds maybe, depending on what stories. And it's a really good way to make history personal and understand and empathy, right? A child's going to have a lot more empathy when they're learning about, wow, this happened to my family, as opposed to somebody else they've maybe never heard of before. So I think that's really good. Another way is just family traditions. Whatever your family traditions are, you keep those going because some family traditions literally go back hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, right? And those simple family traditions keep history going. This is something that the Jewish culture does incredibly well. I mean, you have like holidays like Passover, and Jewish families for centuries and centuries and centuries have told the same story generation to generation. And so those traditions stay, and that's one great way for kids to learn history. So definitely anything you can bring in with the family, I think is great. This is a fun one. I love military reenactments. And so, you could do many different types depending on what your child might be into. So I went to one with my daughter, and we went to it was a U.S. Revolutionary reenactment, and she sat there for like 20 minutes watching this guy make a quill, a writing quill, and she loved it. She just had a joy just watching. She took it home, and she still has it. And she learned a little bit that day, and she's 5 at the time. And this other image of a bunch of Roman soldiers. And so you can find various military reenactments. They do kind of performances. They have fun with it. They have sometimes exhibits as well there. And that's something that's very enjoyable, I think, for younger kids. That's something I think even at the age of 5 or 6, you could definitely take them to a lot of these, and they would have a lot of fun. Food. Yeah, I mean, everybody likes to eat, and it could be anything. It could be family dishes. I have a video I made about this great dish called shakshuka. And it's something that I've made my whole life with my parents, and this is something that you can learn a bit of history from. And it doesn't just have to be family dishes. It could be dishes from a foreign nation. You could say, today we're gonna, find, go on a globe, spin the globe randomly, hit a spot, and say, all right, we're gonna look up a meal from whatever country it landed on. And you could try that. You can try to research meals people used to eat and try to recreate those meals and see how that turns out. And so these are kind of hands-on projects as well that kids, even at the age of 6, can easily do or at least participate in. And I think, everyone kind of can enjoy that a bit. So definitely any sort of food, cooking, anything of that nature, I think is great. Antique stores. Maybe 5-year-old, 4-year-old might be a little bit hard at that age. They want to grabby things, so this might be a little bit better for maybe 8, 9-year-olds. And the great thing about if you go find a nice, good antique store, there's so many random things in there. So maybe for one kid, it's this grandfather clock that's interesting to them. Another one, it may be an old phone that they used. and maybe an old radio, maybe some old military, old coins, right? Every kid is kind of into something a little bit different. Maybe old toys. Oh my goodness, I just thought of that one as I'm recording this. Old toys. I mean, that's a great way. Kids love toys, and you can see kind of different toys, antique toys that kids played with. And you can say, where was that used? And you can learn about it a little bit more. So I think if you can find a nice antique store to go into and find some things and look around, I think that could be a fun way for kids to learn history as well. All right. And then obviously one that people often think about, last one here, museums. And I put short history videos. So, museums are interesting. There's some museums, you take, like I live next to the Getty Villa. I'll be honest, you take a 6-year-old to Getty Villa and they see a bunch of Roman sculptures, may not do much for them. But then you can find other museums that are a little bit more interesting, kind of more hands-on. Like this one, a picture of the left is a place called Fort Tejon that I took my daughter to. And they basically had like a little home where people used to live, and like the little crib. And that was more engaging for someone of that age. So, there's natural history museums. A lot of kids like those things as well. So there's all sorts of local museums, I think, that could be really good. I do think even, you could show short history videos to younger kids. One of the things I did on my channel is I created kind of a 3-minute history videos, right? So maybe, obviously a 5, 6-year-old is not going to sit through a 30-minute lecture on the Roman Republic, right? But they might watch a 2, 3-minute video on the Rosetta Stone, right? And something I'll even leave the link in the description here if you want to kind of give that a go. So I think those are always fun things you could do that can get kids engaged as well. I have other ideas as well, just kind of, I think that would work. Really hands-on projects are always great. You could, create, a mosaic of historical event. Mosaics are fun. Kids are doing that. And that kind of ties in with art as well. So anything painting, pictures of historical people or events, I think that's great. Books, I mean, obviously, when they get to a little bit older and they're reading well, historical fiction is great. I think it's funny. Some people poo-poo historical fiction because it's not 100% accurate. It's not accurate, but who cares? It could be fun, it can be engaging, and then very often, same thing with historical movies. You can use those as well. Now, I will say this: many historical movies probably aren't age appropriate for younger ones. But there's you might be able to find some things there. I had people tell me Lego building. You could do something with that. You could literally build Legos of pyramids or Colosseums or whatever. Puzzles, you could do puzzles as well. So there's a lot of fun ways you could study history, even as a child. So I hope this gave you some good ideas. Please share, subscribe, like, leave some comments with some ideas you like. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting. Wish you all a great day. And yeah, keep learning that history, everyone. Everyone, wonderful day. Thank you for watching.